What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video, and today we have to talk about DH Games' new artifact, because you may already ask yourself, Wraec, did you invest into an X tier TBB, or why can she survive that well against Valk? And that is really the topic of today's video, because we just got an artifact that allows all of your heroes to get burn immunity, and we're still going to die here because we can't CC the carries reliably, but nonetheless those Valks actually did 0 damage to my TBB besides her not having burn immunity natively on her. So what is the case here? Why can we still survive? Well, with the new artifact that was released during the 10th anniversary event, we now have access to X tier stats on all heroes. That is pretty crazy. Check this out. It says burn immunity, which was exclusive to X tier heroes, and pure flow, also an X tier stat, on top of coming with 30% attack and 110 speed. That means this artifact in the deific and in the base version, actually also in the base version, you get the burn immunity in the base version as well. I can show you that. It's pretty crazy, honestly, because even if you have a single artifact of that, you can already have the burn immunity. You can see burn immunity is on there. And can I show you the base version of it? I don't think I can. Oh wait, I have an idea. There we go, because it's actually in the anniversary event, it's available there. There we have the base version, and you can see attack, speed, and also burn immunity. So even with the singular artifact, not upgraded at all, you already have burn immunity, and that makes your hero essentially immune to Valk, which is absolutely insane, because that means that as soon as you have this artifact, Valk will never again be a problem, and you can do even more with it as well, because this is for once a chase artifact. This is one of those artifacts where you can say, wow, I really want to have that, and that is really something when we see it is in a chest and is available to free to play, though I reckon DH has been kind of stingy with artifacts in the past, so it will be a bit tough, but you should definitely keep your eyes open for it, and I want to show you a bit more. But before we get into that, there is one more thing that I have to mention, because we have a 100,000 Starry Gem giveaway going on over on SG Hub. So you can just join SG Hub Discord, of course, where you can buy the cheapest Starry Gems. You just join down through the invitation down in the description. You will be entering a welcome channel. Just scroll to the bottom of that, where you can find a button that lets you get your role, that allows you into the other channels, and there is an SG giveaway channel. Just hit the participate button, and in 2 weeks we will draw one winner that will get 100,000 Starry Gems. So one singular winner, 100,000 Starry Gems. Absolutely crazy opportunity for you guys to win this. And I would definitely recommend you head on over there, hit that button before you forget it. And maybe while you are there, check out the Starry Gems too, because you can get huge discounts on Starry Gems there, and of course get a ton of loot from the anniversary. But now for the artifact. We already saw that we got burn immunity. We have pure flow on there. What is pure flow? We can only check that really if you have an X tier hero. So I will do you the favor and show you, because here we have the explanation. Pure flow, when self is inflicted with a control effect, reduces its duration by 1 round. So essentially, if you get inflicted with the CC effect that says, for example, can we check out the CC effect? Let's say, what is a good one that we can quickly find? TBB. Let's use TBB. So TBB has a ton of stuff here, and it actually says attack with a 100% chance to bloodbinding twine the target for 2 rounds. So when your hero is twined, this will be for 2 rounds. What does 2 rounds mean? 2 rounds means till the end of the round it is inflicted with, and then also to the end of the next round. And if you have pure flow, that duration will be reduced by 1, so it will only be to the end of the round. So if you have 2 stacks of pure flow, for example, because you have an X tier hero that also uses this artifact and has a pure flow stat, then the duration will be 0, so you will never even be inflicted with this CC, which is pretty cool. There's also another way to get 2 stacks of pure flow by using the artifact and then using the PDE core, because the PDE core says at the beginning of each battle reduces the duration of any control effects inflicted on self and 2 random allies by 1 round. And if you have that, well, maxed on the collaboration 8, it will be 5 random allies. So basically everybody will be CC immune with this artifact, which is pretty sick. So That is what Pure Flow is, and you should know that because this is also pretty strong, because you can get essentially your entire team immune to most CCs, because most CCs in this game are for 2 rounds. There are a few exceptions that we have. One is Time Plume. Time Plume, the Star Soul, has a 15-round CC with the shapeshifting. There is the rumor going around that shapeshifting is always either an infinite CC or just based on the hits that you take. That is actually not the case. Most types of shapeshifting that are inflicted nowadays come from the treasure and only have a 2-round duration. And most other CC is also 2 rounds. There is like a very, very niche one that we have, because actually LFA has a 3-round CC, inflicts Fear Abyssal Gaze for 3 rounds. But all other heroes you will find, or most other heroes that you find, will have 2-round CC, and in the current meta, that is the overwhelming form. So as soon as you have 2 sticks of Pure Flow, you will likely not be inflicted with CC anymore. So that is a very, very interesting aspect of this artifact that we can show. The other aspect we saw, of course, at the beginning is the burn immunity that will wonderfully work against Valk. So you can put your TBB in there and essentially already do a ton of damage. But of course, if you have multiple heroes with this artifact, then you can be immune to like basically all of it. We can kind of simulate this here, because of course I have X tiers that are also immune to burn. We can add our SSM here as well, and this gives us a very, very wonderful effect where essentially, yeah, we don't even have to fear Valk at all anymore on this, because those 3 are all burn immune, and TBB is burn immune because of the artifact, which makes Valk, yeah, essentially an absolute walk in the park. So that is great. What you also may have noticed is my TBB super reliably does her CC at the beginning of the battle. Well, we only saw 2 fights, so but it works every single time, which is pretty cool. Because what this artifact also does, and that is now part of the effects, it will give you 100 energy at the start of the battle if your hero's in the back row. So, and as my TBB was in the back row, you can see wonderfully clean fight here. As my TBB is in the back row, she will gain 100 energy, which will immediately trigger her passive skill and works way more reliably, actually, than the Dragon Rui. And that is a comparison that many people have already drawn. Dragon Rui versus this new artifact. What should you choose? And for the reliability, it's actually way better to have this one, because this says when a battle starts, when Self is in the battle as a substitute, if Self is in the backline, gains 100 energy. This will always work. This will always trigger her passive skill. On top, you get the fastest speed of an artifact in the game. There is in fact no faster artifact that we have. We have other artifacts with speed, but none that is that fast. Dragon Rui has 100 speed. 100 speed is also on a few other, like the Sea Rocket Shell. We have a few that have less speed, like 50 on the Will of Winter, for example, or another 100 here with the Spiritual Mirror. But we have none that reaches 110 speed. So this is the fastest artifact at the moment in the game. Gives you the CC immune, gives you burn immune, gives you attack, and then gives you the 100 energy. And then we have a super long effect here on the deific version, which I will mostly cover. We'll check out what less you have on the normal version as well in a second. But I think the deific version is now, well, a bit more meta. We'll see. So we have 3 laws here, plus the law of Trinity. So that is a 4th one, but it's a bit special. Where activates law of brutality, law of tenacity, law of nourishment, law of Trinity in sequence, switching at the end of the round. So round 1, you get law of brutality. Round 2, law of tenacity. Round 3, law of nourishment. Round 4, law of Trinity. So what does that mean? We have one effect when we are on the front line. We have another effect when we are in the back line. Both of those feature a certain theme. So if you are in the front line, you actually get 24% control immunity and 18% control immunity offset. Each time the effect is granted repeatedly, the effect increases by 110% up to 330%. So every time this is granted, it becomes more powerful. As far as I have seen, those don't stick in between. But it's a bit tough to see. The problem, we can check it out here for a second. We can go one more time into the holo campaign and into the stage. I will just remove those heroes for the sake of clarity. You don't actually get to see any effects here. So that's a bit of the issue. We don't get to see the effect, and on top of that, we don't really get to see numbers. As you mean, we see the round switches. We see, okay, now we get a shield. That is good, but we have some other effects that could grant that too. And we don't actually get to see any numbers round 4 now, which grants us the next rule, the next law. And now we have round 5, we are at the beginning again. So you don't actually see anything, which makes it a little bit tough to say whether or not what actually happens here. For the second and third effect, it's a bit easier because that's a shield and a heal, but also all damage reduction. We can check that out. So yeah, first round, control immunity offset, small amount, increased every time it is granted. Then second round, we get the Law of Tenacity, is a shield, plus all damage reduction, also increased every time it is granted. And then on the next one, 50 energy, and we restore HP, which is also increased every time it's granted. And then the Law of Trinity, which is why I said we have 3 laws really. The Law of Trinity just grants you all of those effects at the same time. So you have a ton of strong effects in here that get stronger every time you gain them. And that is for the front line. So essentially in the front line, you scale up. In the back row, it is a little bit of the opposite. In the back row, you start with strong effects, but they get weaker every single time. So in the back row, you also gain the energy, and you get strong buffs at the start that get weaker every single time. So a little bit more burst oriented. We can see Law of Brutality in the back row is 75% control immunity and 55% control immunity offset. And this gets reduced every single time it is granted. Reduced by 20%. So gains a shield equal to 85% of max HP, all damage reduction 55%. So ton of all damage reduction, pretty huge shield, also gets reduced. And then Law of Nourishment, 160 energy, and we restore a ton of HP. So, and that also gets reduced. And then Law of Trinity granting us all of those effects one more time. So if you have really strong 4 rounds that then get weaker, and then we basically get surpassed by the front row effects. So you have 2 ways to play this really. You have to can either play it in the front row, and then you will be stronger in way later rounds of the fight if you expect to go into really long rounds, or you put it in the put the hero in the back row, then you gain 100 energy, you gain way bigger buffs at the start, and then you lose out on those in a bit. Considering the current PvP meta is like very short amount of rounds, so we really don't have 10 round fights, we don't have 11 round fights, we don't have 12 round fights, something like this. We're really around the 3 round, maybe, sometimes 4 rounds maximum fight. There, really the back row effects are way better because you have those huge buffs, you gain them all one time, you gain a ton of control immunity, you gain a ton of shield, you gain a ton of all damage reduction, you have all of those great effects, and you get the energy in the back row, and that really works out pretty well for you. There are some heroes where this has synergies, but there are some heroes where this has like not such great synergies, and we can delve over those as well. We already talked about TBB, really great when you place her in the back row because you get the energy guaranteed. The competition here is between this and the Dragon Rui. I don't know if I have a Dragon Rui right now set up. Ooh. Okay, we will compare. So what you have to keep in mind for the comparison. We have higher speed, which is great. We have burn immunity, we have pure flow, plus we will compare the back row effects because those are bigger, which is 55% control immunity offset. So comparing this to a Dragon Rui, we can do this fairly quickly. I have this one only, that sucks. Okay, there we go, found the second one. On the Dragon Rui, we have 67% control precision. We have the damage reduction, which can have value. We have 30% control immunity offset there. We have a control immunity increase by 20%. And we have this 50% chance to gain 100 energy. So we have, in theory, a lower control immunity offset because we saw on our Law of Brutality down here, this was 55%, here it is 30%, but we have this consistently throughout the entire fight and not just during round 1. So we have like a bigger consistency with the control immunity offset, because on round 2 and 3 we wouldn't have that, so thus this would probably be a bit stronger on those rounds. But we also have 67% control precision, and this combined with those 30% gives us a way higher chance to CC actually with this Dragon Rui, specifically for TBB, because TBB also has rather low CC chances, so those profit also a lot from extra control precision, which is really nice. If you need more CC consistency, then Dragon Rui is actually better. if you can afford to lose also a fight, maybe because your hero didn't get the 100 energy, then Dragon Rui will be better, will allow you to CC way more consistently, and I think also an early game will give you more CC chances. If we are talking about something like Void Campaign clearing though, especially if you go with a macro, then the CC chances or the consistency of it doesn't matter if you have like 100 attempts that you can spam at it. Then Claw of the Fallen Demon King will be the more valuable artifact because it will also grant you, of course, the burn immunity, which allows you to use your TBB against Valk, which you definitely can't do with Dragon Rui because she will just immediately nuke herself. Will give you way better protection against CC and a ton of effects on top. So that is a comparison that we have right here. The Dragon Rui also, well, it has less versatility. It's really a strict CC artifact. The Claw can be used for multiple things. It's also rather interesting for Wukong, because for Wukong what you usually want is an energy artifact. If you check him out, he has this effect at the bottom here. When a battle starts, when Self is in the battle as a substitute, Self has 1 or more energy, deducts 50% of the current HP. And this basically puts him into both of his status at the same time, into this Immortal Soul and Universe Imitation, which grants him all of the corresponding effects with that. And that actually does work if you put him in the back row with the Dragon Rui as well. We can, with the Claw of the Fallen Demon King as well, we can quickly check that here against Animorph. We have him here in the front row. If he won't get the energy, we can check this out very, very quickly. Oh wait, I'm going to have the double speed. We see there is the big statue behind him. Doesn't exist. That is because he didn't have the energy at the beginning of the fight. If we move him with this artifact to the back row, then we can see he will drain his energy, his HP. He will immediately get the statue and also nuke the enemy at the same time. So with the artifact, you can use him in the back row, which is also pretty nice that this synergy works and is fairly cool at that. So definitely also very interesting combination. And of course, you have like a lot of very interesting things here. I mean, the CC reliability will be lower also on Wukong. That is the same as with the Dragon Rui on TBB. The Dragon Rui will in general provide you with better CI offset and control pack. But if you can kind of compensate from that either with Treasure Train or with Star Spawns and can get your CI offset and control pack from there, or you can go of course and get yourself Awakening bonus stats that may make this easier, then you have a great artifact here actually, because you get the burn immunity on your Wukong, you get pure flow on him, you have inherently already 2 CC immunities on Wukong, so you can make him a real monster with that. So that is pretty great. That and it's already is a madness. It grants a lot of versatility. One thing where I kind of struggle with this artifact. So the thing is, I mean, obviously it wouldn't make sense to use it on mine, Holmes Young, because he has pure flow and he has burn immunity, so it takes away half of the benefit of this artifact. But let's imagine this guy isn't X tier. Well, we don't have to imagine. I actually built 2 Holmes Youngs that aren't X tier. Now that I think about it, wait a second. We do have Holmes Youngs that aren't X tier. There we go. If we were to put this on this guy, then one thing I really always want to do is I want to go and have him do a basic attack. That is really what I like, because we have the potion gain here when a battle starts and at the end of each round. Self has a 100% chance to gain 1 Void Extraction potion and 1 Star Prophet or 1 Star Prophecy potion, and 35% chance to gain another. And what we really want to do if we have his treasures is we want to get 2 Star Prophecy potions. And the best way to maximize this is to do basic, because a basic has a 40% chance to give us another bottle. Whereas when we do the active skill, this will drain our potions. It will consume all self-owned potions to trigger some effects. It doesn't matter. The thing is, if we have the start of the round and then we do a basic, we get another end of the round, so we have the maximum chance that we can to get the potions that we want. So what we really want to do is we want to kind of go into the fight. Can we fight Skarloey maybe? Yes, like the TBB shouldn't really matter for us. We now have to basically limit us a little bit in his positioning, because if we go for back row, what happens? Okay, actually he has... Does he? I think he had some energy drain going on. I have to check that again. Maybe we have to fight somebody else. We could fight Animorph again, I think. So if we have him in the back row, that should immediately bring us to full energy, which it didn't. That is very weird that it didn't do that. Let's try that one more time. Did I forget? Oh, wait. Yeah. Wrong Holmes Young. I still have to get used to that. I was like searching for the conspiracy here. 2B-. It could again be the... No, this is the 400, okay? Ah, yeah. Full energy. There we go. Full energy if we put him in the back row, which is of course bad because now we do an active skill. We are burn immune, which is nice, but we don't want to really have the active skill. So what we have to do is we have to run them in the front line to avoid that. So there we can then do the basic attack. But we can still run this artifact on him. So that is still possible. That is still possible if we want that. But we have to kind of keep that in mind that if we want a basic from a hero, we kind of have to switch the positioning up to put him in the front row. But you can have a burn immune style Mr. Holmes Young here, which is really nice because a few people said, Wraec, the problem is if I run my Holmes Young and I put him against the Valks stages, what happens is they are always in the front row as well, so I get burned and it is really bad. And yeah, now you basically have a solution for that. Why did I do that? As if we are going to get 2 potions from that. That was stupid. But we can run him in the front row and we can have a burn immune style Mr. Holmes Young with the treasures and everything going on now. So if you have that, that is a huge asset on top of that. Talked enough now about the effects. We talked enough now about like the synergies. I mean, obviously this is an artifact that you can run on almost any hero because, well, no matter if they need the energy or not, you have a positioning method to accommodate that. And then on top of that, you also have pretty insane effects that you can trigger. We have the burn immunity, you have the pure flow. We talked about the synergy with the PDE core with pure flow, so you can get a full CC immune team if you wished at that. You can kind of play around with the law of brutality and the other laws. You can get the energy gain, run it on the TBB, get yourself some immediate triggers that work very well. Only thing you have to keep in mind is that the 55 control immunity offset are nice, but probably won't suffice on lower stage accounts, on like early game and stuff, but probably be a bit less consistent than like a Wukong, on your Wukong, if you run Dragon Rui, this will be a bit more consistent than the Dragon Claw artifact, but this is kind of possible to compensate if you just go for some of the common treasures that have that. For example, Hero Token, we have one very popular one. I recommend to go for Control Precision for Mage, wouldn't work for Wukong, but would, for example, be something that you can use for TBB. And of course, we have a ton of ways that we can get CI offset from treasures, and on top of that also from star spawns. Here, for example, we have Mage, controlling offset 25.8%, control precision 35%, that is also in there, and then game mode specific ones, or you can even go extra fancy, not with the book, but you can of course get a sigil that has that, and with the sigil with control break you have like 100% chance to CC, so it becomes absolutely insane. So there you can do something, or you can go into Galactic Tree, and of course there you have this one for mages, which grants extra stats for mages, but also 21% control immunity offset for everybody. If you re-roll it, it's a 180% roll, and there is another one, which was this one, also has control immunity offset, so there is another way to get that. And awakening bonus stats, but you need a B- or above for that. On the C tier, you can't actually roll the stats, so keep that in mind if you want to go for it. And then we can also check out the normal version of this artifact. It is in here. Let me open that up because I don't actually have any other way to display it at the moment. I think we have to scroll all the way down. There we go. This one doesn't have the pure flow. It has less speed. It has less attack. It still has the burn immunity. And we actually have also the 100 energy for the backline. So that's the same essentially. And then we have Poem of Valor, Poem of Resilience, and Poem of Flow. In sequence, in the front line, we also get the control immunity, and we get control immunity offset. Lower stats here, but each time the effect is granted repeatedly, effect increases up to 400%. So we have a higher cap here, which is kind of interesting that it works that way. and we have the shield and all damage reduction, so this is essentially the same we saw before. And here, energy and HP, and then we essentially have the same functionality where it's reduced in the back row, so that is the same, it is just lower stats, not even that much honestly. Control immunity 70% and 50% control immunity offset is not even a lot less. Let's check that out. It's not even a lot less, where is it? 75%, 55%, so that is not even that much of a difference, to be honest. And bigger difference is that we don't have this law of Trinity here. So we don't actually get all three combined in one round. So we don't get our super round in that sense, you could say. Which is a disadvantage, I guess. I mean, it's a very strong round, but then on the other hand, you scale your stats quicker. Because round 4, which would usually not add anything to your scaling, with the base artifact does add to your scaling. I wonder how that works out. Because that artifact would reach its max in the front row also fairly fast and has a higher cap, it seems. We really have to do an in-depth comparison of those, because this is 330%, a little bit higher stats, but has this one round that doesn't add to it, because Lord of Trinity says, gains all of three effects above, keeping current values does not trigger the repetition effect. Well, we don't have that here. So on turn 4, instead of having this one round, we would get back into Poem of Valor, basically overtaking the other artifact a little bit faster. That is very interesting. It has a disadvantage, of course, if you run it in the backline. In the backline, the one round that doesn't deduct from our stats, but also grants them one more time, is very advantageous. But for front row use, the base artifact could be better. Very weird. Very weird. Okay. But base artifact works. And you can split it up, and you can even use the normal version, the not splendid version, just to get the burn immunity on your heroes, so definitely chase-worthy. How do you get it? Well, problem is, right now only in the anniversary. And as far as I've seen in this week, only in the mysterious sales in the anniversary mall. There we can find it in the artifacts down here. And the problem with artifacts, and we have talked about it for a while, DH games is kind of gatekeeping them. That is something that they have always done. They've always said, okay, we don't want to give those artifacts immediately to players. That leads to us usually being quite behind in the regularly obtainable methods for artifacts, meaning glorious relics, for example, when we check that out. Yeah. Toad still, I think, oh wait, we have the feather cape in here. So we are a bit behind in there, and it takes quite a long time for them to add new artifacts to that. So this can be months until it hits that. And then you have, well, kind of different levels of artifact boxes that you can get. They oftentimes include them in different stages of events. I don't know if we can find one very quickly. I will look for one. So here we have one, for example. This one is in the next week's event. And this one has different quests that you have to obtain. And those are very doable. Completing heroic summons, spending some gems. So it's an easily free-to-play obtainable artifact chest. If we check this out, though, it doesn't include the new artifact. In fact, the Glorious Wraec shop didn't even include the Spree Pass, the last one that was released. So we are way off from that, and those free-to-play obtainable artifact chests also don't include the meta artifacts, those are the new ones. So we have to, you have to kind of get into the pay-to-win territory, or sometimes the ones that you can pull through luck also obtain them. This isn't always the case though, so likely it is gate-kept through spending at the moment. What I would recommend is, you should keep your eyes out for artifact chests that include this artifact and are obtainable free-to-play. I would check out event guides for this, and maybe you find one where this is in there right now. I don't think there is a free-to-play one that you can obtain. I haven't specifically checked this yet. If there is an option for that, I don't think there was. I don't think I have seen one where you get this for free. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I will pin a comment if somebody has found one that you can get free to play. Let's say that, and you can check out the pinned comments if somebody found one. Then I will pin it there. But I doubt there is actually one at the moment. I've went through the event a few times. Yeah, but doesn't seem to be the case. So, that being said, insane artifact. It's not in the swap, by the way. I tried to check that out already. It's not in here if we want to swap to that. It doesn't include this artifact. It goes up to the ones that are in Glorious Wraec shop. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely check out SG Up for our 100,000 Starry Gem giveaway. It will run for about 2 weeks till I think the day after anniversary ends. And you can win 100,000 Starry Gems there. So hop on over to SG Up, maybe buy yourself some nice Starry Gems so you can get the offers here from the anniversary a lot cheaper. It's up to, I think we have between 80 and 90% discount on Starry Gems. So compared to the in-game prices, so it's absolutely insane. Still have the discount going for Stripe payments, so that is very nice. And of course, you can win the 100k Starry Gems and then afterwards buy yourself a nice S tier and, well, absolutely dominate Void Campaign with a new artifact probably as well. So that is very, very nice as well. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Check out yesterday's stream if you missed my anniversary stream. A lot of people have joined in there. Thank you again. We had over 500 viewers at the same time, actually, which is pretty crazy. I definitely enjoyed that time. But other than that, I wish you guys a great day. We'll see us in the next one.